In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast. Hello, Chadwick.
Frank, how goes it? How goes it?
It goes good. Hello, dear listeners and watchers and terrible podcast imbibers. Welcome. What are you imbibing today, sir? Oh, the
Miller Lite,
classic.
blurry Miller Lite. Yeah.
Yeah, you got some. I'm going in my ever-present, newly tasked job to maintain drinking bubbly water of all kinds of types, as long as they're trashy. This is cheating because this is basically first off, it's a national treasure for the nation of Italy, but really it's just a Pellegrino Lemonata, which is really more of a soda, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm twerking
Nice.
down today. I didn't even put any. I didn't spike it in any capacity, which is a shame. It's a missed opportunity, I assume.
I don't even know you anymore, man.
Oh man, you know what? I don't know anymore, sir. What in the world is happening to the used car market? Because it's kind of topsy turvy.
Mm.
Some stuff it really, I feel like we've been talking about it off and on for a while now, but it really finally feels like it's becoming a bit of a buyer's market, for not everything, but for some things, and some of those things we like to play with. And the what's exciting is being able to poke around Facebook Marketplace a little bit
Yes.
and find like multiple things that are actually like seem like decent buys.
Yeah.
And
Finally.
that makes me
Finally.
that's dangerous for folks like us.
It's the perfect timing for me to be a car buying abstinence practicing individual, my friend. It's very tempting, and I'll talk about that more towards the end. Yeah, I'm not buying anything.
Abstinence makes the heart go fonder, grow fonder. I don't know.
Makes the boner grow something. I don't
Like exactly less turgid. I don't. Yeah,
That's it
I don't
or
know.
more. I don't know.
I don't know. Just are you retaining? Is that what it is? You're gonna retain all your. That's a thing. That's like an incel thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
It's like
I know nothing about that, so
yeah,
that I'm willing to
exactly.
profess on the interwebs.
Yeah, you're voluntary celibate, at least when it comes to purchasing automobiles.
Right now, and I
Yes.
mean, did I message a few people about cars? Maybe, but anyway,
Maybe.
like
Yeah, you got to take some shots, right?
dude, you're so right, dude, about the market though. It's like it's absolutely wild. It's changed a lot since even the past year. If we take in just
Mhm.
2024, we've seen a huge change. Lots of factors, right? Let's be honest. Like, let's financially analyze what we have here. We got an election year, my friend. You never know. Election years are always there's a little bit of turmoil
Yeah.
baked into that. We
This
don't know
one's like
which
extra spicy edition,
it is. It is.
considering there's like
They're eating our
people are
dogs and
like
cats, and I
yeah,
can't sing about it. I
the
can't sing
geese
about it.
the geese are getting poached out of allegedly pulled out of local parks, I guess. I don't
Shit
know.
happens, dude. Shit happens when you
Yeah,
party naked. But the thing
that's
is,
true.
with that kind of stuff, like that environment, like that, the interest rates, the Fed like cut the interest rates a little bit. So there's all these weird things floating around, and those things hit the used car market hard.
Mhm.
People are holding on to their money. So expensive cars and like super. And we'll get into it, I'm sure, but the expensive stuff is still expensive. But the affordable kind of weird stuff, like you were saying, that we kind of gun for, the stuff we traffic in, is actually down to earth again. And I think some people are trying to free up some cash with the uncertainty ahead. And that's when opportunistic, horrible card hoarders like ourselves
Mhm.
potentially can benefit or, bury ourselves in more projects. Either way. That's
Yeah,
what I'm feeling, though. That's what I'm
which is
feeling.
tough because it's like I've been in such a good stride, getting rid of some stuff,
Mm.
getting some things off the books and moving some metal. And then when because right, like to your point, I would say not I wouldn't couch it by saying expensive stuff is still expensive. Blue chipper stuff
Yeah,
still
that's what I'm
expensive.
talking about.
Really nice stuff. If you've got like a 5-year-old Bentley, you're doomed. Like that, nobody wants that car.
Yeah, but
Nobody
you're
going in this climate wants a a 5-year-old flying spur. It's
And
just
that's exactly it, dude. I'm talking the enthusiast expensive stuff. So like your
good shit.
GT3s and stuff, still expensive, still
Yeah,
unattainable for commoners like ourselves. But you're
please.
right. I can get you a good deal on an Alpina B7. Trust me, I can get you a
Yeah.
great, huge cut off the MSRP. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's the enthusiast expensive stuff. It's still very,
Yeah.
very much sought after and fetching very good prices, to tell you the truth, for clean examples.
Yeah.
But the weird stuff though, and I'm sure we're going to bring up
Hmm.
some stuff that we've talked about. The car auction sites are actually pretty good snipe places now. If you're looking for something a little weird, it sneaks on
There is
there.
some stuff that falls through the cracks. But
Yes.
you never know. Like there's some stuff where like, oh, there's no way that thing's selling. And then it pops and the right people end up there. And then other stuff you're like, oh, that's a surefire, you know, good car for somebody and it misses wildly. And so it's um I think the stuff that is still on the auction side, ignore the shirt I'm wearing right now, is the stuff that is still jumps off the page and is presented incredibly well,
Yes.
still does really well. The stuff that if somebody can look at it and go, I'll wait for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that's not either not selling or it's selling at a much lower dollar amount. So it makes it, if you want to still continue to participate
Mm.
in the online auction space, selling whatever. Let's say the 924 behind me. It's a white 924, indescript, but it's a turbo. And it's like, it's got, I can, someone like me can do like really nice photo and video and fluff it up and get eyeballs on it, and then it'll sell and it'll do well. But if you're not really cagey about that, you're just not equipped to do that. It
Mm-hmm.
makes it a harder place to play because people will overlook it because you have to sell it a lot more if you want to get the money for it. Some cars sell themselves, right? It's
Right.
a PTS green GT3 touring. Okay, like that car is going to sell itself. Some
Yeah.
hyper low mileage S2000. You see the one that just sold for 170,000 last
It's
week.
wild. It's just
The
wild, dude.
a CR with like delivery miles, but it had sold last year for 200.
I saw that. Yeah.
So it's lost 15%, which is actually probably pretty good because I bet the whole market's probably lost 20.
At least.
Um,
Yeah. At least.
yeah, depends on what it is. That's a blue chipper thing. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I bet you if it didn't previously sell for 200, it wouldn't have done 170.
No. Yeah.
Because now the guy that paid 170 is like, oh, I bought the $200,000 car for 170. Look how smart I am. But if it
What
had
did,
not publicly changed hands before, it probably would have sold for 135.
what did that guy drive for? Like 30 miles or something obscenely low like that? They did
Right.
the math. Like how much did he spend per mile? And it was like, why?
Yeah, $1,000 a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculousness, dude.
But that's not the zeitgeist of this podcast. We
No,
don't play in any of that kind of. So
purely
letting
by choice.
letting
By
people
choice.
eat shit on their Rolls Royce Ghost, fine by this podcast. Let it go. Like not at all what
Uh,
we play in. So you've got a car behind you in your digital background today. I've got a nearly abandoned, although I did put a tiny bit of work into it. Did we
whoa.
talk about that on the last podcast? And then
I
I lost 2 screws and then I had to stop for a minute. I don't know. Maybe not.
mm, maybe not.
But yeah, so what have you is there I know you're still in burn the fleet mode.
Yeah.
But I know you've got a wandering eye, my friend. The grass is always greener. Um what's anything stuck in your craws or anything that you're looking at like you kind of had let go by the wayside during the whole COVID bubble and now you're like re-engaging? Like what are your thoughts? What's
There's a lot that I should not have passed on. But to be we're doing house storm like 2024. So I don't want to ruin PCP, but I do have an offer on the house right now where I'm pending on my
okay?
shop space. So that happened
Pitching
very quick. Like
above over asking.
and it
Sick.
didn't. It was a strong offer. I was already in a good spot. What I was offering, like way more than I paid in 2021. So I
Yep.
knew the improvements I did. It's a good spot. I just needed the right people to go there, and it didn't even. I thought it was going to sit for like 3 weeks. We got an offer in less than a week.
Hell
So
yeah.
good spot. I won't bury the lead there, but It's crunch time, dude. They want to close in 21 days, not a standard 30-day close.
Okay.
So I literally have to freaking give things away. And we'll talk about that again too. So I really can't buy anything. I say that. I was thinking about where I could hide a car if I bought it. I got to be careful of my location right now, how
You can
loud I
hide
talk.
something at Uncle Frank's place. Come on.
Right, exactly. But I did so what I've been looking at, dude, and this is weird, but 35th anniversary 350Zs.
Ooh.
There was a yellow one, which is just absolutely perfect, mint, full factory fresh. And I guess the guy sold it and never updated it because he wouldn't like message me back.
Oh,
And I
that
was
sucks.
so bummed, dude. Because so the good thing about that, I think it's an '05 only. That's 35th anniversary of the Z.
Mm-hmm.
Has the full 300 horsepower, the rev up engine before you could get it with the base model. And it just has a ton of other cool things. Like they changed like the cams and a couple other things. So it does make that extra power. It
Mm-hmm.
does rev up. So it's an extra 400 RPM over the stock one. But that yellow is just so good, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been looking at 350Zs, dude, because I think a
That's like a
stock
pearlescent yellow, right?
you kinda, yeah. It's like it's an insanely eye-searing yellow, which I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love. But it's just a cool car. I think those things. I think that's the perfect like right now before they get insane. You can still find kind of clean ones with higher mileage. I think they're good all-around track cars. That VQ engine is very stout, good gearbox, good handling dynamics. I think a 350Z is a perfect little track beater.
What was refresh my memory? 350Z. What were the production years on that? Was it
Three first
oh
year.
03 oh 03 to 03 to 10? 9.
2009, I think, was the start of
Yeah.
the 370. So, oh wait, would have been the last
Okay.
350.
Okay.
And they had three big changes. They had the stock motor it came with, then they had the
Mm-hmm.
rev up, and then the high rev. So different RPMs, different horsepower ratings, torque changing along the way, but
Right. Because
they
it
were all
peaked at what, like
3.5s.
306 horsepower or something? Was like
Yeah,
the
just
high,
I
the
think it
spiciest
trickled.
version.
Yeah, trickle. I don't know if the Nismo actually got more power. I can't remember off the top of my head. The spiciest was like the 350Z Nismo, which I'd fucking kill for, but those are pretty pricey
I
and
don't
super rare.
I don't love the Nismo. I think the front bumper treatment is a little too wonky for me.
The rear is absolute bananas, and I love it. The big square
Yeah,
thing at the bottom.
yeah. I'm actually I think I'm okay with the rear. It's like boy racer, but that's the point of that car. The
Right.
front is a little like pursed mouth catfishy for me.
Yeah, it's got like a wavy surfboard kind of splitter in the front, and then on top of that, it does. What's cool about it? It is all seam welded like a real race car, and apparently
Yeah,
the
that's cool.
dynamics are absolutely fantastic. So
Yeah. So no, those are
into that.
what's interesting is I think those cars will be inarguably, I think, more desirable than the 370. Even you can make the argument the 370 is maybe the better car. It's the
It
more,
is.
it's like the evolution of the 350.
Mm-hmm.
But because they made it for ever,
Yeah.
it's just same reason, same with like Xterras and with Frontiers. It's just they don't hold their value, or even like current Challengers
Absolutely.
where
Yeah.
you make a car way, you keep it alive, zombify it for way beyond its expiration date, and it affects the desirability of the car.
Sure.
But I don't think the 350 got that treatment. I think the 350 still thought of fondly and like, yeah, the interiors are cheap and this and that, but like they were cool. The worst thing that happened to those cars are like VQ trumpet noise fuckboys. But as
Yeah.
long as you keep yours mostly stock or stock,
Mhm.
OEM plus, I think that's a very cool car.
Super cool. And, there's a lot to be said. I want to track one with the good Brembos, the limited slip, and the
Mm-hmm.
cloth seats. That's kind of what I'm gunning for. If I can't. So the 35th anniversary is super rare. Like they made 1,000 of them, I think. So they're in
Cool.
only 1 year. So that's a super cool car. It falls in that I like those exclusive, like not expensive cars.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's where I want to be, but I'll take a track like an earlier, like a rev up track around that same time, 04, 05, and just it's simple, it's rear wheel drive, it's easy to maintain, and the performance is fucking good, dude. Like that's 300
Yeah.
horsepower is just right.
Yeah. No, that would be fun.
I've been looking at it,
Because
man.
what?
I'm gonna
Because
say
what
it.
were the specs? You had a base. Did they call it base? Or I know there was enthusiast.
Yeah,
And
there
was
was
that the base?
base
Or was that like the mid tier?
enthusiast, and then track was the
And then
best.
touring,
Touring was just loaded.
and then
Yes.
Yeah, touring, and then they had a grand touring, which I think had different
Mm.
wheels and like you got like you got like a nicer stereo, like the more Bose or something like that.
Not a monsoon.
No highs, no lows. It's Bose. Yeah. Yeah. No monsoon. No Shaker 500.
No blob
No
punked.
no Blau punked. No Bang and Olufsen.
Uh,
But yeah, no, very cool.
yeah.
I
Been looking hard, dude. Been looking real hard at those.
those are cool. Yeah, that would be. I think I'd have to go burnt. I'm burnt orange.
God.
I'd
Yeah,
do the
that
burnt
but that
orange.
yellow, dude. Mm,
Yeah,
it looked right.
yeah.
But even in
Hmm.
silver, there's something about like a stock one in silver. Just they just look
They're
right.
good.
They
Yeah,
really
they're good
look
in
good.
silver.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm looking because I think that's something. And boy, I think 5 years you can't find a stock 350Z. It's going to be very hard and very costly because the price has creeped up quite a bit.
I bet the only ones that you're gonna find are stock
Mm-hmm.
and in good shape. You'll find a handful of first year low mileage cars in that
Yep.
launch burnt orange, right? Well, somebody
Great
bought
color.
one,
Yeah.
they were retiring and it was a retirement gift to themselves and they put 500 miles a year on it, 1,000 miles a year, and
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to sell it and it'll have 41,000 miles on it and it will be perfectly maintained and they're going to ask for 50 grand and it won't get that and
Right.
it will stay like that. Or maybe a handful of Nismos. I think there
Mm-hmm.
might be a handful of Nismos some people squirrel away
Mm.
for similar reasons. But yeah, that is just finding like an interesting. Those cars are. I feel like they've changed hands a lot, and once it's on its third, fourth owner, it's game over. Um,
Yeah, it's all about maintenance, but like we're speaking about the market right now, and I think the 350Z is at a good price point right now because it is a pure sports car. It's a pure tour two-seater. So really, if the economy takes a shit, that's not something people are like indulging themselves in right now
sure.
with what's coming up. So I think those kind of affordable and it's not super exclusive, pure two-seaters. I think Miatas might take a little bit of a dip too as the
Maybe.
year progresses. I've seen NA Miatas that are kind of affordable again, which is you go back
Mm-hmm.
like a year or two ago, NA Miatas were like 9-10 grand for decent ones, which is
Yeah.
insane. As a guy that used to buy $2,000 Miatas.
And like that Z you were looking at, I don't know about that one specifically because of it being what it was, but
Mm,
like you can probably get a very, very low mile manual transmission Z in whatever spec. I don't, pick your trim level
mm-hmm.
and basically anything other than a Nismo for what? 10 to 12?
That's about right. You don't really see too many low mileage. Even finding a clean high mileage one is a challenge.
Yeah.
It's super hard to find a clean Z period. Like you know how it
Yeah.
goes. Like matching body panels, things of that nature.
Sure. Yeah. And just without like, holes drilled in the bumpers.
Well, the diff, and I'm
Yeah,
passing.
exactly. Um
How about you, man? You are you trying to take advantage of this unstable market?
um trying to no, almost accidentally,
Mm.
yes. Um so I've been selling things. What I
Hmm.
need to turn my attention to now is Operation Crossfire.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I haven't been actively looking, but like I've been accidentally having like the devil land on my shoulder and whisper into my ear. For instance, now this is a very not exciting car, but it was something I was interested in because it could have been a good deal through my car donation guys.
Hmm.
2005
Okay.
Volkswagen Jetta TDI wagon manual
Okay.
GLS trim. So
Oh,
leather, heated seats,
yeah.
power everything, which is pretty unusual for a manual TDI. Manual
Hmm.
TDI, especially in wagon form, it's like we're going to get the utilitarian one, and it's going to
Right.
be like that's why you do that. Silver, gray leather, 155,000 miles, one owner, ran really strong. Ran
Huh.
runs really strong.
Okay.
AC's cold, everything. It's on a PNO, right? Planned on op. So no back fees or nothing. 2008 date coded tires. so needs
Ooh,
tires, but they're 195, 65, 15, so they're cheap.
cost nothing. Yeah.
Um, could
Did
have
it
had it for
go
30.
through like did it go through the Dieselgate stuff or nah?
No, it's pre Dieselgate. So it's
What
'05
year?
is the last '05 is the very
Oh,
last
okay.
year of
Yep,
that
gotcha.
Mark
Yep.
IV. Um, so it's kind of the one you want. Like the Mark
Hmm.
IV is like that iconic era of early 2000s Volkswagen when they were
That's right.
really hitting their stride and just cool. Um, like so I was in Detroit last weekend and I did do Radwood Detroit, which was excellent. But
Nice.
the Friday beforehand, at like the whatever it was, Michigan Central Station, like the big old train station, they did a big uh like a car show, like a Cars and Coffee there. And there was one just like it, except it was like not slammed, but like probably 2.5 inches lowered
Oh wow.
on I don't remember what wheels, but like rotiforms or something like that.
Hmm.
Not flush, not stance, but just lowered and it like same colored. I don't know if it was a TDI, but manual silver wagon. And I was like, oh, that looks good. Oh no. And I've like fought. And then I talked to the homies at Cars and Bids, and they're like, yeah, we would auction that car. Like presented right, it's borderline, but presented right. One with like 127 sold for like 15 grand on Bring a Trailer,
Yikes.
which is a complete outlier. Like
Yeah.
complete outlier. It's double what it should have. It just the two right people got in the room. That happens in the world of online auctions.
Sure.
So I deferred. I said, you know what? If they'll run it, I'll just let me get the money for the charity. So we're gonna run it. Rich, friend of the pod,
Yeah. Yeah.
over at Car Donation, he ordered tires for it and everything, but I almost bought it. Like really, for could have had it for $3,500 and then did tires and drove it around for a little bit. But I'm like, no, I'm fighting it. But like that's what the market. That's kind of the market. So I almost ended up. I still do.
Mhm.
One day I would like to have a Mark IV Jetta, like a GLI,
Yep.
or like a GLX, like VR6 manual. There were a couple different specs, but a really nice manual Mark IV Jetta is so pure.
Yeah, I've almost pulled the trigger on a few of those and just missed a few really clean ones that I love because they came with BBS wheels, Recaro
Mm-hmm.
seats, and just it's a timeless design, burnt crayon smell. It's just I really
Mm-hmm.
like those cars. I had a VR6 Jetta 4th gen, which I really
Oh,
liked, but
cool.
I really do want the GLI with the 1.8 because it's a good motor, good gearbox too. There's just I don't know. There's something about those cars, man. They really just nailed it because the Jettas before that were quirky and cool, but they almost went too quirky. And then I think for some reason those Jettas just looked perfect. I don't know why. After that, they just became standardized sedan looking cars. It's the 4th gen just looks good. Just looks
Like
good.
that generation of Volkswagen between the new Beetle and that was it the B? I don't remember my nomenclature, but that generation Passat,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that generation Jetta and Golf and on was like it really kind of set the bar as far as like simplistic design
Mhm.
for that era. That wasn't too busy, it wasn't flashy, but it's just really really clean, just a good looking car.
Yeah.
They
Volkswagen was
were,
killing it during that period too. Go figure when your cars look like that.
yeah, they did quite well. And now it's like I couldn't even tell you what a 2024 25 Jetta looks like.
Yeah, or a Passat, and it's like, okay, that looks like is that an A4? Is that an A6? I don't know what the hell that thing is. Oh, a Passat, cool.
Shout out real quick to the CC, the Passat CC, which then they
Yeah,
dropped the Passat and just became the CC. When that thing came out, that was a cool car. That
that was
OG,
fancy looking.
yeah, really fancy looking. You had the kind of, what do you call it? They had like you can get like the two-tone like cream and black leather interiors
That's
on
right.
those. And, really kind of sporty. But then they had but then what did they just have it like the Arteon was like its
Oh
replacement, and they
yeah,
sold like
yeah.
seven in North America. Um, yeah, Volkswagen. We should do a saving Volkswagen one day.
We should.
That's what we need. That's what we need to do.
Almost really need to do that after Dieselgate, but
I know the tiger iguana.
oh,
They've lost their way, man.
they totally have. But some other cars, dude, I passed on.
Yeah.
I looked at a couple quad four Grand Ams, all automatic. So
Mm,
it wasn't, I wouldn't say easy to pass on because it's impossible to find it. I feel like it's impossible to find a quad four out here.
yeah.
So passing a couple of those. We talked about the Dodge Raider last time, which I thought was so cool. It lasted a day. And Saab 900s, I just had a freaking thing for Saab 900s, man. And I keep finding clean ones keep popping up. And I think those are the kind of cars because these kind of cool cars that we think are cool, but people aren't using for their dailies. So they're kind of like an extra car. Those can be had cheap. I think people are letting their extra cars kind of get out the door right now with the, insecure in like possible insecure future. So they're like, I can't really hold on to this car. It's a good time to get it out. And some people are still thinking like it's 2021 and they're listing their prices, their cars like insane.
Yeah.
Tell me you haven't seen like just a beat to crap car with high mileage and they're asking like it's got to be a typo, right? There's like a 10,000.
There's still a bunch of that.
Yeah, tons of that.
But there are still some deals that are coming out of the woodwork, which 18 months ago there were zero deals, or if they were, they'd be pulled down in an hour because they would get poached immediately by someone who would give it a bath and then immediately put it back on,
yep,
or flip it from one platform to the next. But what I think we're also going to see with regards to the market and why we will start seeing some of these, to your point, like the secondary car, the backup car, or I think we'll see people's, former daily driver that maybe they were stretching out during COVID is because like stuff new is now getting into the realm of at or even under MSRP on some stuff. And the supply chain is catching up.
Yep.
And so now people feel like they can actually trade their car in and get something new, or donate it and get something new, or sell it on Facebook Marketplace or whatever, insert online sales method. So I think that's going to be part of it too. It's like, oh, I can now actually, when you were talking about like, oh, like a whatever, an Ioniq 5 was pulling 30 grand
insane
ADM.
Yep.
And you don't even get to pick your spec. It would be like, we'll call you when one rolls off the truck. And if you're the next one online, then we'll tell you the spec and you can buy it or wait for the next one. And we'll go to the next person on the list if you don't want it.
Yep.
And like, that's what it was. And none of that's happening now. Like everything is back down to earth. And so I think people are now going to go buy the new thing and shed their old car. And a lot of those are going to be Nissan Altimas and big Ultima Energy. But there's going to be some fun stuff, I think, coming to market.
Yeah. I think if you got some cash, a little bit of cash, you scoop up something cheap, something obscure, hell, like something weird, like an NX 2000.
You're reading my mind.
Something that you don't see, and there's not really a crazy market for it. You buy it now, you fix it up a little bit, you take care of some little things, you do some improvements, right, to increase the value of the car. You hold out to after tax returns next year and you unload it. You have your fun, you unload it, you're going to make some money on it. It'll be post-election. The world will have calmed down a little bit. I think that's a good strategy right now.
Or we will be like literally actually cannibalizing our neighbors because
either way,
it will be the actual the Civil War 2.0 Apocalypse Edition, and we'll be cannibalistic.
Yeah, dream. Get your cheap weird cards now. I never stopped being a cannibal, so it doesn't matter to me. Maybe it'll be more acceptable. Who knows? Embrace all choices. But
long pig, isn't that a thing? That's it. Yeah. Okay. Tune in for a cannibal talk.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. How good does that NX look? By the way, I got the an image of my NX 2000 behind me.
Oof. Yes, and we're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk at some point because I am moderately horny for it.
Cool car, very cool car,
very cool. It's a good color. What's the mileage on it again?
180. 180.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Okay.
A good number for a 93.
Yeah, but you've poked it full of holes, so I know it's gonna be tight. And I'm not worried about miles on those motors. They're do they have any
No,
common
nothing. SR
thing on those?
so especially so the SR20DE is like the E36 M3 engine. It's compared to its turbo or Neo VVL versions, which are all actually also fantastic motors.
Mm-hmm.
It's the least strong. It still revs like a mother. It's chain driven reliably. There's no known faults with the SR20 motors. You
Yeah.
just regular oil changes. That's literally it
Who'd have
with
thought?
these cars, and it's just absolutely wild. There's no known defects. There's lots of these with like pushing 300,000 miles. It's
Yeah,
just
I think some of like the later turbocharged ones that we never got, like if you start like giving them a little bit more boost and you don't do things, they start having problems. But that's not at all what this car and motor is, and it's yeah,
yeah,
like my B13 SER, it had 200, it was like 214,000, 217, something like that, and
yeah,
it was deeply abused. Like it was if it like if you raise your hand above your head, it would flinch. Like how much shit this thing had seen. Like a tree fell on it, and the guy got a DUI in it. That's how I got it for $250
yeah.
on a PV hold, and shattered windshield, and it was bad. And it's still like
Jeez.
I got it tuned up, and it just went. It just worked.
I think I
And
paid
ran hard.
God, I think I paid 1,200, so I went way too much versus what you got yours for. But this was in 2000. I want to say 2008 is when I bought mine, so it was a while ago.
Yeah, I think I got mine in. I lived here in my house now, so I bought this house in 20 end of 2013. So this is probably like
Nice.
2014.
Yeah, you got
I
it.
got
Just
mine.
they simmered down a little bit. When I bought, they were still like sought after. Mine was that grandmother one. I think I've talked about it on the pod before. So it's like a
Yeah,
grandmother
real
spec
low
one.
miles, but
Yeah, it had some
it
issues.
it
But
had
I got
never seen operating temp.
good car though. But for some reason, so I've owned the trifecta of U.S. Uh,
You
sold in the
have.
U.S. SR20 powered cars. I've had the G20T, the P10, which is probably the best example you can get. I had the NX 2000 last
Mm-hmm.
year of that, and then I had a '93 SCR B13 Sentra. So honestly, the NX is my favorite. I think
Yeah.
it's the coolest looking. T tops are, dude. The T tops, you just push a little button, pop, take it out, put in the leather satchel in the trunk, tie it down. It's near convertible status. It's got a limited slip. They all did, so you don't have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about that, like with the G20s and whatnot. If you don't get a T, bigger brakes than the SCR Sentra, and then just some other things. It just feels, and I know this is probably because I went too hardcore on suspension.
Sure.
It handles unbelievably, dude. It's incredible, and like the balance.
What
It's
you did coilovers on it?
so coilovers, and then I put a bigger sway bar and adjustable end links on the rear to make it
Yeah.
a little more lively, which is great for front wheel drive cars like
Mm-hmm.
these. And then everything else, control arms, bushings, there isn't an old suspension component on the car.
Yeah.
So it's just, oh, and I did the engine mounts to compensate for that stiffness. So it's just smooth and just, dude, in the corners, it's bonkers.
Were the motor mounts shot on it when you got it?
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
engine vibrated
Mine was
violently.
mine was like, yeah, it was brutal. I think those cars eat motor mounts because
Yeah, it's
I've spent a lot of time on a few. The one I got was like it shatter your teeth the moment you start it. Like it was real bad.
it was real
I
bad.
did motor mounts, which weren't there. It wasn't too bad to do on that car.
Not at all. It's super accessible platform to work on, tell you the
Mm-hmm.
truth. And the fact that you don't have to do timing belts is kind of a bonus.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll have to figure something out. I don't know. It might have to come live at Uncle Frank's house for a little
Oh
bit.
boy. Oh boy.
We'll see. I'm trying to think what I can trade you for it because you need a trade, right? You can take something on trade.
No, dude.
Defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
2 for 1. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that will be the cap to the
Yeah.
market talk will be me. We'll continue to be Eskimo brothers when it comes to cars.
Keep passing the same cars around. It's good. It's
Yeah,
good
we'll
stuff.
snowball it back and forth. It'll be good.
But yeah,
With
I mean, just big takeaway from the car market right now. It's just really hard to be in the position I'm in because I'm seeing so many cool cars, and I'm seeing okay, we didn't talk about the volume of cars. I'm seeing a lot more cars for sale as well on marketplace. Like whereas you could type in something obscure and you'd get like one or two. I feel like I'm seeing a lot more like of the weirder
Mhm.
stuff just bubbling up. People are getting rid of cars they've held on to for a little while. Again, probably the same factors we're talking about, but the volume of cars for sale right now feels really healthy. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you want some, now's the time to go find it. You know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get better or worse.
Mm,
I like to think there's going to be more and more coming out of the woodwork, and then we'll see come spring.
right.
Um, but I'm excited for it. I this
Bring
is
it
why I
back.
need to sell more. I need to sell my old 41 truck. I need to sell some of this other stuff. So A, I have money. B, I have parking spaces. And C, I'm like less stressed at the concept of buying something else. So
Mm,
um yeah, that will be this is exciting times in the world of the APA podcast.
hmm
Hmm.
Is it time? Did we already hit
Yeah,
the quiz
I
mark
think
here?
I think you need to quiz all over me.
Ooh, and I got a good one for you, man.
You do?
This is gonna be a little spicy for you, man.
Oh, okay. I'm getting, let's see, level of spice TBD for the
Hmm.
uninitiated. Um, when I kind of dip my toes into the world of innuendo, and I say Chadwick here will quiz all over my neck and chest. What I'm
He
really
means
saying,
he means what it sounds like.
what I really am saying is that we're going to play our print ad quiz game. In this game, one of us, in this case Chadwick, will read to the other one of us, in this case me, a print the type copy from a print advertisement for an automobile from the 80s, 90s, up until the mid 2000s. He will redact out any overly identifying information, and it will be incumbent upon me within 10 minutes and three guesses to try and figure out what the make, model, and approximate year of this vehicle might be. I can ask for hints in between if I get some guesses wrong. And you, dear listener, are more than welcome to play along and scream at your listening device when you hear me floundering and you obviously clearly know what it is. Yes, this is going to be good. I'm ready. Chadwick.
Let's do this, my friend. This ad, just to clarify something, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like I'm talking about two cars, but it's just two kind of form factors of the same car.
Sure.
So just
Okay.
to clarify that at the
So
beginning,
like a
because
coupe and sedan
so,
or
to
coupe
that effect. Yeah,
convertible.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So our ad here is cool. It shows both variants of the car.
Mm-hmm.
One's at a passenger 3/4, the other is a side profile. And then we have an acceleration testing box that they break out at the bottom. So I'm going to hit you with every kind of metric covering various acceleration tests. So
Ooh, okay.
this is a fun one. This is a good
This is
one.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm into it.
So it starts by rejecting the notion of what is and embracing what will be.
Mm.
Very prolific start. The new blank and blank, the powerful blank and blank that give you more of everything. The new blank. Foresight, I almost said foreskin. That's how bad we
Foreskin.
are on this fucking program. Uh, Foresight has finally taken shape. Foreskin a blank.
Oh, foreskin is finally
With
taking shape.
here we go. Here's some numbers. With more standard horsepower than I'll leave the year out for now.
Okay.
Honda Civic DX and Ford Focus LX. It's no surprise that the blank has the best acceleration, outperforming them both, and with an abundance of overall space and standard features like air conditioning, power windows, mirrors, 6-speaker CD stereo, and tilt steering. They
Mm.
shatter every small car preconception. You know this was coming. You just didn't know from where. For more information, blah, 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 blah. So now we have the certified acceleration testing table I'm going to present to you.
Certified.
It's
Okay.
this vehicle, column A, if you will. Column B will be the Honda Civic DX,
Mm-hmm.
and column uh, we'll go C is the Ford Focus LX. So it's our
Okay.
car against the Civic and the Focus. Okay, standard horsepower, Frank. Our
Mm-hmm.
car has 141 in
Okay.
comparison to the Honda Civic DX with 115 and the Focus 110. If you're super savvy on your engines, those will tell you what year we're talking about.
Yeah.
So 0 to 60, our car does it in 9.6 seconds.
Cooking.
That's the best one here. So the DX does it in 9.86, and the Focus, good Lord, an abysmal 10.59. Highway merging acceleration. Now, this is an interesting test taking place between 20 and 65 miles an hour. Our car does it in 9.65. The competitor's 9.97, 10.3. I'm just going to read you what our guy does. Highway passing acceleration. This is 40 to 70. It can go 70 miles an hour, 8.15 seconds. Air conditioning standard. Power windows, mirrors, standard. I love how they put that after the acceleration stuff. And that is the ad, my friend. I can't tell you anymore because it gives it away. I will put 10 minutes on the clock. So just to recall, 141 horsepower, and it's competing
Yeah,
against a Civic in Focus.
boy. I mean, realistically, though, that's my data. That's my entire data set right there.
Mm-hmm.
That and that there's two form factors.
There are. Yeah, that's a big deal.
So thinking about trying to nail down, first off, I think
It did say space too. Remember that?
there's the cubicness
Yeah, very cubic.
cubology. Seeing as I'm a volumologist, so no, I trying to just immediately nail down the year.
Mm.
So I'm trying to remember what the last year of the what the last year of the Escort was
Mm.
before the Focus,
Okay.
which I believe we got the Escort until 2000, and then we got the Focus in 01, although it might have been we got the Focus in 02.
Mm.
Either I'm going to say 01, and then I think this is going to be the last year of that generation Civic, which would have had the what is it? Was it the it wasn't the D15. Maybe it was the D15 motor. Um which would have been a 115 horsepower because once you got to the was it the B17? Whatever the 1.7 liter was,
Mm-hmm.
it was more than 115 horsepower. I believe it was 130, maybe
Mm.
125. So I'm thinking this is 2001, maybe 2002. I'm gonna go. My brain is going with 2001 right now.
Mm.
More important is what vehicle this is. So
What the
100,
hell are we talking about?
141 horsepower. I think that excludes Toyota,
Hmm.
but maybe not. Because my thought is this: because if it's that era, unless it's later, because my thought was maybe they're saying Toyota Corolla and Toyota Corolla Matrix, which would have been 2003. Because then you had like the wagony one and then the not
Mm-hmm.
wagony boy. But I don't know if 141 is quite that. It's clearly not a Honda product. It's clearly not a Ford product.
Mm-hmm. That'd be some
Um,
cannibalism again.
it could be cannibal. Well, it could be partial cannibalism because this could be a protege. So this could be 2001 protege and protege 5, which are your two form factors. One, they're going to tout about the different, and that's certainly a sportier car than those two. And I know it was roughly 140 horsepower. I I can't think of anything from Chevrolet that's going to fit this, or Pontiac for that matter. Like I don't see this being a Sunfire, although because yeah, well, not a 141 because even like the GT with the Ecotech, I think was like 150 horsepower, maybe 160 even, or the Quad 4 for that matter.
Mm.
So I think, and there was a coupe and sedan there and a convertible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to go with my first inkling on this one, and I'm going to say this is a 2001 Mazda Protege and Mazda Protege 5. Final answer, Bob.
I like where your mind is, but that's not really embracing what will be. That's
Ooh.
that's a good one. I don't think the Fazda relationship would allow that comparison.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying partial cannibalism.
Yeah, they wouldn't let that shit slide. So time period, you're right on the money. I'll give you that with '02 is
Yeah.
the year we're talking about, my friend. Uh, how can I help you out? Help me help you.
Um, I'm trying to figure out like a not overly hinty hint.
Mm-hmm.
Ba, 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 ba. So by process of elimination, we've eliminated Mazda. This is all predates to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And this would not be a competitor to the 6. Honda's not a player. I can't think of a GM product off the top of my head. And 2002, I don't think this is a Volkswagen product because the 2-point slow wasn't making that power. The low 1.8T, I think the low horsepower was 150. And then I think 180 out of the higher ones on the Volkswagen side. At 225 when it had an Audi badge slapped on it. So I can't think of anything out of Europe that would fit this bill. I'm gonna go with I'm just gonna do this.
What if I'll help you out a little bit? I'll help you out a little bit. Your form factor analysis with the Protege or the Protege and Protege 5 is spot on.
Okay. So then it has, I mean,
very similar form factor comparison here.
So it kind of has to be my other one that I said, although I thought 03 was the first year for this model. But I don't know. Sometimes some of that stuff got a little blurry where like they announce it and then it actually rolls out like a year later. So is this a 2002 Toyota Corolla and Toyota Corolla Matrix final answer?
This is not Toyota at all.
Okay.
So I think you have 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think you're being a little too mainstream.
Ooh, main vein. Okay.
Yeah. Gotta drain the main vein.
Gotta drain the main vein. Too mainstream. So, boy, oh boy. Sentra was not. There was no Waggity Sentra.
Too mainstream.
Too mainstream. The other side of this, which is a car we've done before, but they made a couple of different flavors and aromas. Could be Mitsubishi Lancer. Because in 2002, you could get that Lancer wagon. I don't remember what they called that thing. Sportback?
That's right. You get a Rally Art Sportback with that.
Could get a Rally Art Sportback.
That horrible automatic that fails every 40,000 miles.
So it could be that.
Too mainstream.
Dude,
we're going obscure here, buddy.
Obscurature.
Told you this one has a little spice to it.
In 2002.
I know, right? Most people have forgotten about this car. I have not. I always look for these cars. I've mentioned it before too.
Damn it, Bobby.
I know.
God damn it, Bobby. So this is not a G20.
Nope. Way too mainstream.
What's my clock looking like?
Your
Show me your clock.
Your clock's very veiny. 1:28 on the clock.
Left?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
I gotta. If only 1:28 has transpired,
I gotta guess some shit, or I gotta get a guess in, or guess or get off the clock.
About to get to a minute here. It's Japanese.
Okay. The great nation of
your
Japan.
Lancer. Your Lancer and Lancer
hold on.
Form factor was spot on, by the way, too.
Hold on. Could this be a could this be a Suzuki SX4 or an or would have been the Aereo SX4? I'm trying to remember what they called the. It's not a Kazashi.
30
It's
seconds.
not in 2002. Isuzu was not really making cars. What was the last Suzuki or Isuzu car? Don't have time. Um. Okay, I'm going to
10
say
seconds.
this is a 2002 Suzuki Forenza.
At the buzzer,
Final answer.
I'm going to give you the credit for getting the automaker correct, but it's not a Forenza. And you almost
Is it?
said it.
Is it
You
the?
said it's not the SX4. That only came with that crossover design, even though there was all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive.
Right. I'm trying to think of because it's not the Aereo.
It is the
It
Aereo
is the Aereo.
SX, which is the wagon, or the S, which is the ugly sedan, which I would never buy. The
See, in
SX
my
is
mind, I
cool.
thought the Aereo was only in the not even a wagon, like the hatch form. But
No,
that's probably what my brain is doing with the SX4.
they call it a sport crossover. It's very wagony if you ever see one in real life.
Yeah.
The sedan is very. Oh, God,
Oh, it's all.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
The sedan is hideous, but the
See, in my
wagon
brain,
is
see,
cool.
my brain flipped the Aereo of the SX4. So I thought the SX4 came in the wagon and sedan, and the Aereo was only
The
the
SX4
hatch.
was super cool. You could get a manual, and they built a WRC car out of it. So
Yeah.
super cool. But you
Suzuki
almost got
Aereo.
there. Yeah, the air. So I
I said
always
Aereo,
look.
but yeah, my brain flip flopped those two
I
nameplates.
always look for the Aereo SX. I want a manual yellow one so hard, dude, because it's such a good little motor. It's nothing too fancy, but I always thought it'd be super cool to have one of those.
And those are all wheel drive, yeah.
The yes, I believe. Well, I think it was
Or am I
actually. I
thinking
don't
again
think
the
so.
SX4?
The SX4 you could get
Hence the
all-wheel drive.
four.
The
Yeah,
SX was always a front-wheel drive, but if you find them, they're dirt cheap for because they're
sure,
just a cheap car. But you can get these for like 2-3 grand for good ones. So SX4s are more like 6 to 7,
sure.
and they're like 08s, 06 to 08 or
Yeah,
something.
I'd still like a Kazashi just for funsies.
Why not? Or a Reno? No one knows about the Suzuki Reno,
Ooh,
the
the
little hatchback.
Reno. Yeah.
Yeah,
Boy,
these
yeah,
are
the
cool. I
Reno.
think, but I hate the sedan, but the Aereo SX is good looking. I think it's a cool looking car. I
Yeah,
definitely wouldn't call it a crossover because it's pretty low. But
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
it's a stretch.
Sorry, that was spicy, Frank. I feel
No, that was good. That was really good. I
your form factor with the Mazda and the Protege 5 and then the Lancer Sportback, spot on, dude. Like a
yeah.
sedan and a wagony type deal.
Yeah,
That
and I
was it.
thought and I thought like maybe Toyota was getting cute with me and being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're talking about this 2002, but it really doesn't really actually come available till '03." Because similar to, especially since the way they named it, right? It'd be like the Aereo SX and the Aereo S, or like the Corolla and the Corolla Matrix.
That's it.
Yeah, sweet. It's
All
no
right.
vibe though.
Well, sometimes when you're down, a little pick me up is in order. I think
Yeah,
some PCP, my friend.
let's go hard in the paint. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Project Car Progress.
I'll just shoot from the hip real quick.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my broken, perpetually broken 924 another day. I think there's nothing actually too crazy going on there.
Mm.
But I shed a vehicle. Let me tell you let me share with
Good
you the
man.
ballad of Country Squire.
Ooh,
Um,
that's right.
so quick refresher: 1983 Ford Crown Victoria LTD Country Squire.
Mhm.
Yes, it is the faux wood panel woody wagon. It is gone. It is off to a new home. But it did. Here's the thing: cars I've been touching and selling have every time the moment they don't want to leave me.
Uh-oh.
There've been like the Supra had its cornucopia of issues the moment the new owner tried to take it home. The 924 got most of the way home, and then the guy got stuck on the side of the road because the stupid starter motor
God.
solenoid signal wire popped off again. And I had to like educate him on how to put it back together.
Hmm.
Um, just old cars having old car problems. So LTD, find a buyer. Great. I put it up on Facebook Marketplace. I got a bunch of I think we talked about it before. I got a bunch of like low ball offers.
Yeah.
Somebody really serious, really excited for it. Hey, I want to come out. I'm in Sacramento. I'm in Folsom specifically. I want to come
Hmm.
on out and check it out. He drove out, test drove it. He was like in love with it. He's got like a couple of Caprice wagons as well, like
Okay.
79 Caprice wagons.
Ooh.
And so he was looking at this. He's like, "Oh, this is cool." And like, I think I've got a line on the missing trim pieces. And he offered me five. And I said,
Hmm.
"Perfect, exactly what I want." That's I
Yeah.
priced it at 58, so I can get five. We're speaking the same language. Let's do it. He's like, "Okay, I got to run to the bank." He's like, "I live in Folsom, but my sister lives one town over in Benicia. Right, hop over the bridge, right there. It's like a 12-minute drive from my house."
Right.
He's like, if you can," he's like, "I'll go to the bank. Here's the address. When I'm leaving the bank, I'll text you. Drive on over. I'll meet you at the place in Benicia. I'll pay you. Bring the title. Everything's great." Okay, cool. Hop in the car. Get up over the bridge. As I'm driving over the bridge, I notice it like kind of stuttering a little bit, like under part throttle. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Hmm.
Get off the freeway. As I'm up 1.1 miles, according to, I almost said MapQuest. Let's go with it. According to MapQuest,
Yeah.
I asked Jeeves and he told me I was 1.1 miles away.
Hmm.
And fuel light comes on. Okay, needs gas, not a big deal. Within 20 seconds of the fuel light comes on, it stalls.
It's a serious
Crank,
fuel
crank,
light.
crank, 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 comes up, stalls again.
Hmm.
Crank, 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 nothing. I can occasionally get it. I can hear the fuel pump running. We keep, fuel pump comes on. I'm like, shit, did I run this thing out of gas? Like old gauges aren't to be trusted.
Yep.
But I figured between the time the light comes on and I'm a mile from the guy's house, wasn't going to be a problem. Nope. Okay, fine. So he comes with a gas can, fills it up, three-gallon gas can, put gas in it. Same deal. He's like, well, maybe it needs more. I was like off the side of the road on like an incline a little bit. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
maybe. So we put another three. Now it's got 6 gallons in the tank. Nothing.
Oh.
We prime it with from the gas can. Prime. It's a throttle body injected. Prime it. Nothing. It'll run off the prime. It'll pull what's on the primer, but then nothing beyond that. I was like, dude, I hear the fuel pump going, but maybe it's cooked, right?
Yeah.
Talk to the guy. He's like, I still want it. And I told him like, okay, like let's get this figured out. I was skipping town. I was like, I'm leaving town. I'll get it taken care of. We'll figure it out. So I tow it to this mechanic that I've used a few times, but he's available and he's reasonably priced. So, okay, fine. I don't have the time to deal with it because I'm like the next day I'm hopping a plane.
Hmm.
So I say, look, I don't want to jeopardize this sale. Let me just get it taken care of. I get it towed over there. He's like, yeah, the fuel pump's running. I can't get it going though. He's like, um, there's two fuel injectors for this throttle body injection. He's like, one was dead, and one was marginal. He's like, I
Okay.
think you were running on a functioning one and a marginal one, like a very marginal, like drip drip has the clap levels of marginal.
Mm.
And now the good one died, and so now you've just got the drip, and that's why it kind of started and then didn't. Whatever.
Mm.
Okay, fine. $800 to new fuel injectors, clean the throttle body. A bunch of stuff's got to come off to get it because it's kind of the way it's set up. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Annoying, but I'm still in the black. Great. Puts it all together. I start it up. I drive. Like, oh, it definitely feels like it's driving better. Um, I talk to the guy. He's like, great. Yeah, if you can drive it to me in Folsom, he's like, I'll buy you an Uber back. Okay, cool. That's fair.
Damn. That's a big ride.
That's good. So, all right, that's good. So, and still at $5,000. Start it up. I was like, let me drive it around a little bit more the night before. So I drive it. It goes like 5 more miles. Stalls out. Crank, 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 crank. Same deal. Crank, no start. All over again. Fuck. So I talked to the mechanic who worked on it. He came on out because it was kind of near his house, and we were playing with it. And he's like, yeah, dude, I think it is a fuel pump. I think it's running. It makes pressure for a while until
Gets
it doesn't,
warm. Gets
until it's
warm and
warm, it
cuts
heat
out.
soaks or whatever, and it's dead. I was like, okay, that's kind of what I thought was happening initially, but whatever. Not going to sweat it. He's like, yeah. He's like, I can get it. This is on a Thursday. He's like, I can get it in on Monday. So I talked to the guy. I text him. I'm like, hey, here's everything with it. And he's like, well, I kind of just want to get the deal done, and I kind of want it. And I'm like, okay, well, here's two options. A, I fix it, I drive it to you. It's not going to be till next week. And then he's like, well, I'm going out of town for 2 weeks starting on Monday. He's like, I'd rather just have it. And I say, okay, plan B, I'll knock $500 off the price and I will use a AAA tow and tow it to your house. He's like, let's do it. So that's what we did.
Nice.
So I still, which is kind of crazy. They just bought it like that, but that's fine. Tow truck came. I was able to drive it onto the tow truck, the flatbed. It drove out there to Folsom. I followed in my own car, got there. He handed me money. I handed off title. We drove it into his garage, and that's it. So
Dude,
I went from making like $2,500 on it to making like 1,200.
still.
It's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like, sure. And it's done. There's no longer people living in it. Things are looking up, but I am on a streak
Yeah,
of the
lately,
the moment I sell a car and the moment the deal's like closed and someone's handing me money, it bursts into flames.
I just want to say you've been turning your PCP lately, which is usually just selling a car into like a feature length presentation. It's just
Yeah,
like I sold a car, but
yeah. Let me burn 7 minutes telling you how it like tried to kill me.
which is good. It's gone. I'm glad,
It's
and I know
gone.
what,
I made
I
a
hear
little bit
you.
of money. I'm okay.
That chapter is closed. For me, I sold a house, whatever. Sold a Summit, an Eagle Summit.
It is gone.
It's gone, and I need to tell you why because I don't think I think I kind of told you some things, but
You
I didn't
show me
share it on the
a
pod.
photo of
Yeah,
some broken stuff.
so I'm on a finite timeline, right, to get this thing sold. Because so here's the deal: I'm moving from my shop space, which I have 6 garage spots, right, into a house that has 3 garage spots, and I'm not like humble bragging or anything, but I have to get rid of fucking cars that don't run because I can't tow and push cars into a garage where they can't move under their own power. I'm just not going to have the situation to have all these unmovable cars. And the Eagle Summit's one of those, being abandoned in 2007, sitting in a garage. I needed to get on it. So I bought all the parts, timing belt, water pump, all the stuff I needed to bring it back, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Non 20-year-old tires or 30-year-old tires or whatever they were at the time. So, first step first, I want to just put a battery in it. I want to hear the car crank over to make sure there's no engine damage. I have no history. And before I do a timing belt water pump job, it's for a car that
Sure.
I got for free. There's no sense in doing that big job and then finding out the block's toast.
Right.
So, new battery, cranks hard, sounds good. I don't hear the fuel pump priming at all. Nothing. I keep, key on, engine off,
Mm-hmm.
nothing. So I'm like, God damn it, the fuel pump's probably dead. I go, it's got a 2 different access points for the tank because it's all wheel
Mm-hmm.
drive. It goes over the axle. Pull up both, dude. That it's like turpentine. It's like 20-something-year-old fuel.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows what just regular gasoline does when you
Gross.
sit, it eats everything. So when I pulled the hanger up for the sending unit, it's just like it was melted everything. All the wiring was gone. It was just the
Mm-hmm.
copper. It was bad, dude. The sock was just, you touched it and it went dust into your tank.
Right.
So
It was
I'm
like
like,
a sock that you would have found under my bed when I was 13.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Just could stand up on its
The
own.
ookiest of cookies.
Yeah, dude. Soggy. Someone told me about soggy bread once, and I thought they were weird.
Oh, I thought it was a Limp Bizkit. I don't know. Whatever.
No,
Carry on.
it's somewhat same theme, same vein, definitely vein. But anyway, I'm like, oh well, fuck. I got a source of sending unit now. Doesn't exist for that car. So I get on, I talk to, I got a few, this is how weird I am. I have a few friends on Instagram that are into these cars and they're like, dude, you're shit out of luck. I had to custom make one. I got told by somebody that had these cars. And he's like, I custom made it out of a bunch of Mitsubishi parts, made it work somehow, but it's unobtainium. Like it doesn't, I'm like, God damn it. I have like 2 weeks to finish this whole job. No way. And of course, I'd have to drop the tank at that part, clean it out. The injectors need to be cleaned. All the lines.
I'm sure the tank doesn't need to be cleaned. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. All that shit in the bottom. Right.
Yeah.
It's good for it. It's character. Anyway, I'm like, God damn it. I'm just going to sell this car with everything that's needed to fix it except for the fuel stuff. And it sucks because once you start turning wrenches, right, on a car, and dude, this car, California car, the bolts looked all brand new that I touched. I was so pumped to work on this car.
You're selling on a bill of sale?
Yeah, so I did. Well, yeah, because it was like a bill. The guy had died or whatever, and his estate sold it to me. And I bought cars without titles. I bought quite a few, and I just, as long as you prove the bill of sale history, and that car was out of the California DMV system, which is kind of makes it easier too. No back fees or anything. Anyway, so I list it. I'm like, dude, this is gonna be hard to get rid of. I'll put it up for $750. It's got new tires in the trunk. It's got everything's good. I got 2 keys made for it. My fucking phone blew up, dude. I think I had like 75 messages in the first half hour. I sold it in a half hour.
Yeah.
And I put it on Craigslist and had like 30 something emails. All like everybody was like, not bullshit. It was like, I got cash. I got 800. I got 850. One guy was like, I got
Damn.
1,000 after I met with the guy that went a little above. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, let me rethink. But I'm first come, first serve guy. You know,
Sure.
I treat people like I want to be treated when I'm buying a car. I hate getting cars sold from under me. It's
Mhm.
like one of the worst things you can do as an enthusiast to other enthusiasts. So
Sure.
I honored that. Sold it immediately, dude. It was like the craziest fever buying I've ever seen for a car
Damn.
that doesn't run. But
Right.
that car, like, dude, I shot a little video. There isn't even a door ding on it. 200,000
What a cool
miles,
thing.
one owner.
Stripper model, like
absolute stripper.
radio delete.
You don't see them. You just don't
Yeah.
see them, right? So
Mhm.
I sold that. Just absolutely crazy. I shot a review of the NX that you see behind me. I mentioned that a little bit about how my fucking camera equipment, for whatever reason, I lost the footage of the acceleration test. And I'm like, I'm not driving all the way back there to do the test. So I
Mhm.
did it on a road where they had construction and it was gravel. And
Gravel stage.
I knocked out a 10.2. 0 to 60, which
On gravel, not bad.
with 140 horsepower is wild. Limited slip, baby. And in the video, you can see the tires, just both of them churning out the gravel. So it's like,
Hell
this
yeah.
thing feels very strong. I don't have the number in front of me, but the instrumented test was significantly quicker than the G20.
Yeah.
The weight difference, not only like 100 pounds. Shocking compared to a
Interesting.
loaded sedan, right?
Right.
But I think the T-tops, I think this has a lot more chassis rigidity, bigger brakes,
Sure.
things like that add up. But in the additional, bigger strut tower bars and the sway bars added to
Yeah.
weight. But yeah, kind of funny to see that. I thought a few hundred pounds for sure, but nope, 100 and something. But anyway, that's what I've been up to, man. Selling houses, selling a car, and
Money moves.
NX. And the NX is probably going pretty damn soon too. So
I don't know. Maybe.
maybe
We will
going
see.
somewhere. It's definitely
Going
going
somewhere.
That's all I
boy.
got, dude. Should we shut it
Yeah, that's
down?
all I got. We should. Let's shut it down. Let's go home.
Yeah, let's do that. But yeah, guys, thanks again for joining us, man. We're glad to be doing this again. We missed you guys. That's why we're here. We hate doing this.
It's for the people.
We fucking hate talking about cars. So we do it for you. It's all about sacrifice. So this is, of course, another Pointless Automotive Podcast, APA Podcast. Check us out wherever you listen to your podcast. Please do leave us some ratings. We like that stuff, and it helps us to get out there and expand our reach around, if you will. But yes. Yeah, we do appreciate that. We're also on YouTube. Every episode we do upload a video component to YouTube, which is fun to do. And we do that every week on Wednesdays. That's when our podcast drops too. So check it out. Frank, we have Instagram too. I don't think we really touched that.
Yeah, it's pseudo abandoned, but you should check it out. Yeah, at APA Podcast. Yeah. If you want to check me out, it's the Photographer's Garage on all of the places, or most of the places, Instagram, YouTube. Also, you can probably find me at one of Diddy's freak offs, so you can find me there. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do a like a Patreon. We should do the Patreon thing, and then eventually we'll just do like exclusive for Patreon members freak offs, and we can do that with like several thousand bottles of baby oil or what have you. Anyways, this has been great. Thank you guys.
Whenever I ask you what you you always leave me hanging, but B, you like say the Photographer's Garage, and then you talk about something not the Photographer's Garage for 80% of the time.
No, that's exactly. It's less about me, and it's really about what the people want.
Yes,
which is a freak off. So definitely catch us at the freak off, and then what kind of flavor of freak off are you? Dabbling in there.
Well, if you really want to catch me, you gotta cash me outside, if you know what I'm saying. True. How about that? Auto Obsessive Garage, rescues, restorations, reviews, stupid cars. But yes, thank you guys, and we'll probably catch you in like 7 days. Sound good, Frank?
Ish.
Give him a week to recover, to heal up.
Yes, absolutely. Heal up, rest your tired heads, and then come see us again.
And loins.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Have fun.